In a world like none other, there comes one man in search of plastic, in search of cons. He is known as Plasticon. Join him as he brings toys from another dimension to a household near you.
Welcome back to another Plasticon review. Today we're going to cover a G.I. Joe Transformers Generation 2 crossover. We are looking at Generation 2 Groove with Rock and Roll. Here is Groove in his four-wheeler mode. I know normally he is a motorcycle, but hey, why couldn't he be a four-wheeler? And this is kind of more of a indicative kind of thing that would have pretty much probably happened back then in the 90s. And I didn't like him a whole lot. He is an amazing little thing. It rolls very well, and I just think it's very cool. So I'm going to pull Rock and Roll here out of the way here, so we can take a closer look at Groove himself. And Groove's got that big old G2 emblem slapped right there on the hood. He's got that screaming orange with all that kind of pastel-y blue goodness that we all know G2 Groove for. He doesn't happen to have moving handles here, but he does have a moving satellite piece. And he also has a rocket launcher here on the back that moves around and is able to point and pew-pew at all the Cobra, because that's what he does. Even the back of the missiles are actually painted, which is really cool. And here's the back of the bike. And you can see he's got a little bit of detail there. There's a little bit of silver detail here kind of picked out. And a little bit of silver here for his headlights. Very simple, but very straightforward. I mean, that's what Groove is. He's not really supposed to be anything crazy and insane. He's just a motorcycle back then, so why not have a version of Groove that's a four-wheeler. I do like him a lot. He's very cool. And he actually works very well with Rock and Roll. Rock and Roll's got this crazy orange going on him, so it works out very well. 90s Rock and Roll was very neat, and I always liked him. I wish this guy was in a little better shape, but that's okay. He's seen a little bit of war, you know, and that's fine. Because he needs some type of mode of transportation to get around and, attack Cobra and keep the Decepticons at bay. So that's what he does with this, and it's very neat. I do like this a lot. It's a very small, simple set that I've done. And some people are probably wondering, where did I get this little four-wheeler from? Four-wheeler itself came from a set that you can get currently still at Walmart. If you go look in the Kids Connection aisle, there's a huge helicopter that's got a truck, not a missile launcher, but a huge artillery cannon. It's got a big helicopter, and this little buggy is actually in the back of the helicopter, and it fits very well in that helicopter, by the way. It just comes in like a green and black, and that's it. Kind of bland. I was like, yes, this is perfect for Groove. It works very well, and that's why I decided to go ahead and paint up and make him work very well with this, because it just works. I mean, Joe needs their vehicles as well, and I personally think this is a good one for him, because it invokes the whole G2 vibe. It really it's a nice little chef's kiss to Groove, because Groove doesn't get enough love out of Transformers as far as I'm concerned. I think a lot of the motorcycle bots don't really get any, huge amount of love. If you guys are wondering, yeah, I did spray paint some of this. Some of this isn't spray painted, some of it is hand painted, and it's just, I had to do what I had to do to make it work, and I think I did a very good job of turning him into Groove, because Groove didn't need to be something crazy and huge, but I also didn't want him to be, a piece that kind of just didn't stand out. And honestly, the Autobots would probably send the Protectobots to hang out with several of the Joes to kind of help them do a lot of reconnaissance missions and such, and that's what Groove is for. Groove is for reconnaissance. And yeah, I know, he's a screaming orange. But you know what? I was to say, he isn't there to show up when there's fires going on or something like that, or any of that kind of thing. Because, I mean, that's what the Protectobots were there for. They helped with protecting the environment, helping everybody out, that type of thing. So that's why he would be a crazy color like this, because he's more of a rescue kind of vehicle versus a full-on, you know, attack vehicle. And that's why, you know, it's kind of weird. Yeah, he's got a missile launcher, but I mean, if you looked at Groove, he actually had these huge launchers on his sides, and he did carry, you know, he carried his weapons and such, because, you know, he is supposed to be a law enforcement, so that's kind of what this is for. And you can never know. I mean, maybe this may be just a launcher that doesn't just launch missiles. Maybe it launches nets or something like that up in a tree or something in order to kind of save the animals or whatever. And it's a very neat little addition to what I have created here, and I think it works very well, especially since he has his own little satellite type of thing here too, because, you know, it works like a little stationary base just for the Autobots and the G.I. Joe to kind of work together to create a cool little world. And then, oh, well, we're trying to search for life forms. Groove, can you do, you know, a search for life forms? And you're like, sure, I can. And then beep, 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 found some life forms. Okay, let's go save them, you know. And then he's got like, oh, I got to shoot some nets up there in a tree to kind of help save them. You know, that's what you could use him for. And these can also be, you know, missiles, because, you know, you're trying to shoot down the Decepticons because they're trying to cause problems, because that's what they do. Just to try to, you know, teach them a lesson or whatever. Not really to kill them or anything, but, you know, to, like, no, that's bad. Don't do that. It's not a good idea. And that's kind of how I see this. I just personally think this is probably one of the cooler little sets I've put together, and kind of just created a whole little story with it, because I'm big into creating my own stories, and I love taking characters that may have been in a different universe and then kind of give them a whole new fresh look, or maybe even just creating something out of absolutely nothing, because, you know, that's what the guy in Smuggler's Room does. So if you guys haven't followed Smuggler's Room, you should check him out too. He's got some really, really interesting things he creates. But creating things is probably one of the coolest things to do, and this should hopefully influence you guys into going into maybe like Goodwills and such, and rescuing some of these vehicles and such that are actually in scale with some G.I. Joes to make them more fit the bill and kind of, you know, work with things. Because Joe had some stuff during the 90s, but there wasn't an enormous amount of stuff like there was in the 80s. And it's really nice to see kind of a refresh on something like this. But anyway, this has been Plasticon. This has been yet another Generation 2 Transformer G.I. Joe crossover review. I'll catch you guys next time, because I have plenty more coming your way. That's it for now. Bye!